Now I know what it feels like to be God. This is Rebooty and the Beast, a podcast in two parts. I'm Ann Burke.
And I'm Matt Molinaro. And in the first episode, we recap and review an original piece of media. And in the subsequent episodes, we discuss the reboots. And we are here in the first of that series.
Did you think that I was going to do It's Alive, It's Alive, It's Alive?
I didn't know what you were going to do because there were a lot of... definitely was on the list.
Yeah.
I was hoping you would do this one, though, because I read a lot of trivia about this quote, actually.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, ooh, good choice.
Did we say the name of the movie?
I mean, we did last week, but...
oh, true. Okay.
We could just leave it hanging. We could end the episode now.
People are clicking on the episode to listen to it, so they probably see what it is.
Listeners, if you enjoyed this episode, please rate and review us.
So we're doing 1931's Frankenstein, I think, not the first Frankenstein movie, but the first one with any sound. And I think, like, the original one was like a 10-minute short film kind of thing.
Yeah, so for the purists out there who are ready to pitchfork and torch and tear down this city, I apologize. It's not the original. It's not, the original's a manuscript book situation here, which I'm sure this is not news to anybody else because this sounded like very common trivia. But did you know Mary Shelley was 16 or 18 when she wrote Frankenstein?
I did. And she is kind of often disregarded as the person who invented the genre of science fiction.
Why?
Sexism, I assume.
Yeah, duh. I have read a lot of things trying to discount why she said she named it Frankenstein too. I went to a little of a deep dive, and I was like, no one wants to believe that a woman could have come up with something on her own.
Yeah. So I've never read the book Frankenstein, but I kind of have a general sense of it. Have you ever read it?
No, and I mean, I have the general sense in the sense that I know that Dr. Frankenstein makes a monster, and carnage ensues, period, at the end.
Yeah, kind of. I think the genre of Frankenstein movies tends to get it, and again, I haven't read the book, but I think the book is much more about introspective on the nature of humanity and existence, and I think the movies are much more like, oh, we've reanimated a corpse and now it's murdering people.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I don't think they're necessarily faithful to the spirit of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein for the most part. I could be wrong about that. Maybe as we dive into the series, maybe some of them will be more like that.
Yeah, I think I read that the original, she wrote it in sort of a contest. Writing, I want to say, a story that had a scary element or a horror or supernatural element to it.
Yeah.
And she wrote a number, a couple or something like that. And then this is the one that ended up winning.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it, I did read a lot of things how you can look at this socially and all that. So
yeah,
that's interesting and all of that. But what I thought was most interesting about the whole Frankenstein thing, which is not, I think, probably news to anyone else either who really loves this kind of thing, but that she didn't really describe Frankenstein's monster in the way that he's depicted in this movie. And I read that this movie is largely, and the makeup artist, are largely responsible for how we kind of know Frankenstein or Frankenstein's monster.
Yeah, in her book, she doesn't describe the process for reanimating him, and she doesn't really describe him much. Mm-hmm. And so all the green skin, the bolts in the neck, the kind of square head, all of that, the stitches on the body, whatever, all of that is kind of an invention of this movie and kind of influenced the genre of Frankenstein, or not the genre of, well, maybe the genre of Frankenstein visually from this movie.
Yeah. And I also read that it was more about alchemy than electricity.
Yes, yeah.
In her version. But I feel like that's kind of re-entered the realm of Frankenstein again, probably. I always like alchemy as the word, I love the word. And B, I just like it as an idea versus a lightning strike.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'd not seen this. I've actually never seen any Frankenstein movie other than maybe Frankenweenie.
Okay, I've never seen Frankenweenie, but I have to say two things. One, I think the only Frankenstein movie I've ever seen is Monster Squad.
Oh,
Which,
gosh, that's right.
have you seen Monster Squad?
No, I'm really familiar with it, though. But I didn't even think of that when I thought of Frankenstein movies.
Oh my God. I don't know if it holds up. I don't know if it's good, but Monster Squad was like one of my favorite movies as a kid. I feel like we've got to do it for a Patreon episode sometime.
For sure.
And the other one, there's a movie called Frankenhooker, which is I've never seen it, but I just remember the like cassette VHS cover of it in like, Blockbuster or
Yes.
Whatever. And it was just so strange. And it was there for like years. And anyway.
I did come across that movie when I was Googling things for Frankenstein.
Yes.
Well, and Young Frankenstein, of course.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I think I've only seen clips of Young Frankenstein.
Oh, that I've definitely seen. I used to have it on cassette tape.
Yes. Listeners, Matt and I are still deciding the full Frankenstein list because there's hundreds of Frankenstein movies.
Yeah.
But I think we might have to do Young Frankenstein just because of its importance.
Yeah, I think we're planning on around 6-ish. And we'll definitely end with the reboot of Frankenstein coming out in a couple weeks, several weeks, whatever you want to say. But yeah, I think of the other ones that we're considering, we have a little list we're picking from. Definitely Young Frankenstein. And we will reserve Bride of Frankenstein movies for a separate series because this is a bummer. Well, I had mentioned last week, I don't know if it made the edit. Blame it on the edit. But that Maggie Gyllenhaal or Gillen? Do you say Gyllenhaal or Gyllenhaal?
It's Gyllenhaal, I think.
Thank you. Maggie Gyllenhaal is directing and playing a part in an upcoming Bride of Frankenstein reboot called The Bride. And there's a few people in it that seem pretty interesting. She's not playing the bride herself. She's playing another part, but it's a sort of dark musical, I think, which sounds fun. And it got moved back from... It was originally supposed to be like kind of coming out around the same time as this Frankenstein, but it's not coming out till March now. So we'll revisit perhaps around then because I'm really excited about that movie.
That'll be fun. Yeah.
All right.
Well, so the 1931 Frankenstein runs an hour and 11 minutes. And the minute I saw that, I was like, God bless. Like, I hate long movies. And so when I saw an hour and 11 minutes, I was like, thank goodness.
Same. We sat down like around 8-ish to watch it. Well, funny thing, we actually watched it around the same time because when I posted about it online, you were like, oh my gosh, I'm watching it too.
Yes, I think I had like literally paused to like, I don't know, like get myself a drink or something. And I, of course, opened Instagram compulsively and saw that Matt had posted a photo that he was watching it with his partner. And I was like, oh, twins.
Right. We were having a drink as well. We were doing Frankenwine, we were calling it.
Frankenwine.
And, but when we sat down to watch it was around like 8-ish or something. And Davey was like, all right, after this, I don't think I'll be able to watch anything else because, after watching a whole movie, because we've been conditioned into watching 2-hour plus movies. And when he saw the runtime, he was like, oh my gosh, it's only going to be like 9 something. The delight.
Yeah, honestly.
I'm not familiar with any of these actors. I'm sure there are famous ones. May Clark seems like a name I should know, but is not one I know.
Boris Karloff is Frankenstein, and I know his name. Like I think I knew of him as Frankenstein, but that's the only person whose name I recognized.
Was he Nosferatu anything? No, that's not
No.
him.
That was Max Schreck.
No, yeah.
Are you impressed that I remembered that?
I am. I mean,
I
you
am
just
too.
Roll that right off your tongue. I was like, okay.
Oh man.
Do you want the little summary?
Yes.
Okay. IMDb summary says, Dr. Henry Frankenstein is obsessed with assembling a living being from parts of several exhumed corpses.
Okay.
I mean,
accurate.
There you go. I think it's... Why did they change his name from Victor and then just have a friend named Victor randomly?
Well, I read that people said Victor was too harsh of a name for American audiences. And I was like, as though we don't know the name Victor? That was weird to me too.
LOL. Victor's out there? We are so sorry.
Yeah, honestly, this is your legacy.
Harsh. Way harsh.
Way harsh.
Victor.
So did you notice in the like, oh, well, first of all, like a man who I think ends up playing the professor in the movie, he comes out and like introduces the movie as kind of like this is a scary movie that deals with like difficult topics of like life and death and creation and, afterlife and things like that.
Yeah, he's like the content warning of Days Past.
Honestly, yeah.
He said it'll thrill, shock, and horrify you.
Yes. Did you notice in the like title sequence that followed him that the monster was played by ?
I did, and I was so intrigued. I was like, "Oh my gosh!"
Well, it reminded me of Suspiria when Tilda Swinton's character was like a whole fictionalized person.
Blown away. I'm still gobsmacked.
It took me legitimately until like almost the end of the movie to realize that was Tilda Swinton. Anyway, we're digressing. So we open on a funeral scene. My favorite part about this movie, by the way, is the outdoor scenes that are clearly on a soundstage with like a fabric curtain that is meant to look like the sky. Because a few times you see like wrinkles in it, and I mean, listen. The technology of movies in 1931 was far from what it is today, so I'm not dogging it for that, but I was just like, I kind of loved that moment of like, oh, this is like it almost felt like a play in that regard, you know?
Yeah, like you see a little bit of movement in the backdrop.
It's like when you realize the bricks in the workroom on RuPaul's Drag Race are actually just fabric panels.
Oh my God, that was so upsetting.
I know. Okay, so there's a funeral scene that we cut to like a man looking over the fence, looking a little Renfield from Dracula.
Oh, very. He looks out of control. There's a creepy duo that pops over the fence, and it's like what do they look like? Not Boris. I was gonna say Boris and Natasha, but that's the wrong
Snidely
cartoon.
Whiplash. Yes, yeah. Very that.
Ed, and Eddie.
Yes. By the way,
there's like a skeleton. I thought there was a skeleton just chilling in the background. I think it was supposed to be a statue.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like a statue of death, I think, is what I read.
For a while, I was like, anyone else notice them?
Yeah. So you have seen Young Frankenstein, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the character of Frankenstein the scientist, his assistant in this movie, his name is Fritz. In Young Frankenstein, is his name not Igor?
I think it is Igor in Young Frankenstein.
Okay, because I immediately saw him. He has a hunchback, and I was like, oh, that's Igor. And then he kept calling him Fritz. So I must just like, I think in the layperson's knowledge of Frankenstein, the assistant is always named Igor.
To me, I think he is, maybe in other versions. This changed some names. I don't know if they did that from the original, but I did read that the trope of like sort of the scientist, the mad scientist, and the like hunchbacked assistant came from this movie as well.
Interesting. Huh. So once the people leave, they go and dig up the body that was just buried. And Henry Frankenstein says he's just resting, waiting for new life to come. I would say maybe my biggest complaint about this movie, so it was only an hour and 11 minutes. My biggest complaint is I feel like Frankenstein needed more backstory. Like I just don't understand why he's the way he is, because he's got like a lovely fiance and is like the son of what seems to be the like ruler of a land, and
something just compels him to do this thing.
Yeah, and I wish we could have seen like the descent into madness a little bit, or gotten a little more context of it, because he just seems he's kind of one note throughout the whole movie to me.
Yeah, you really are left to fill in a lot of blanks. It's like, is he just figured something out and has to try it? It doesn't. That's kind of the vibe I get. He's figured out something more advanced than wherever he was working and learning from is willing to let him try, and he's like, well, I'm gonna try anyway because I'm a big baby. But yeah, they don't really give you anything. He's just crazy and abusive to his sidekick, calling him a fool every 5 seconds.
Every 5 seconds, yes. They cut another body down from like hanging from a post. I assume it was like a man who'd been hung as like a criminal or something like that.
Yeah.
But the neck is broken and the brain is useless, so they have to find another brain.
Darn.
Cut to a medical college, which was kind of cool. I really liked, I don't know if this was a set too, or if they filmed this like in an actual like medical school setting, but there was something almost like I loved, it was really pretty. It looked really cool in there, how like it was like theater style wooden rows of seats for students, and like, you know, the sort of laboratory vibe of the teacher's area. I thought it looked really cool.
Yeah, it gave me like the Wicked classroom vibes a little
bit. I could see that. So the professor is kind of like lecturing about like two brains that he's got on his desk. Like one is a normal brain and the other is the cadaver. Yeah, the brain of somebody whose life was brutality and murder. And later on we see they're sitting next to each other and one has a sticker that says normal brain and the other has a sticker that says abnormal brain, I think.
I think abnormal brain, yeah. And doesn't it say like violent or something?
Maybe. Something like that. Just made me laugh. Anyway, so they send Fritz in to break in, and he tries to get the normal brain first, but then he knocks into a skeleton hanging from the ceiling, which, by the way, is an actual skeleton.
Oh my gosh, I read that too. I read it was like a total... it was cheaper or easier to like rent that.
Yes.
Oh gosh. I mean, that's horrifying.
Totally horrifying. I mean, remember Poltergeist, when the actress found out that those were like actual skeletons that she was like in a swampy pool with? Oh, anyway.
Listen, they got their money's worth out of it. They really bounced it around in the scene.
They did.
Davey was like, why does the skeleton keep bouncing? And I was like, because they really wanted to showcase it.
Honestly. I wonder if it was the same skeleton from the graveyard, actually.
You know, don't you just hate it when you're going to get a brain from a jar and they put the regular brain, the normal brain, next to the abnormal violent brain jar?
Yes.
And the same jar, same size. They don't even like change the color of the label. I hate when that happens.
I know. It's so easy to grab the wrong one.
You always grab the wrong one and you don't realize till you're at checkout.
Exactly.
And then you don't want to go back, so you have to pretend you wanted the abnormal violent brain.
Mm-hmm.
Then what are they thinking of you? That's what happens here, but instead I love how he just drops the brain, crash, splash, plop, and just like kind of kicks it to the side and runs out
has to grab the abnormal one. Yeah.
No one will notice that.
I think our next scene is Elizabeth, which is Frankenstein's fiance. By the way, I am being faithful to the intent of Mary Shelley, and Frankenstein is the scientist, not the monster.
Yes. Which that is, I think, a common piece of trivia.
Yeah.
I mean, they need to make some kind of sense out of it, though. If they're going to call both Frankenstein, they need to just call them one or the other in a movie. I feel like they did both in this movie, and I feel like that's kind of what started the confusion.
I don't think so. I think they called him like the monster, the fool, the creature, etc. in this movie. But I do think like a lot of
Frankenstein.
I think I read a piece of trivia that the confusion originated with the movie The Bride of Frankenstein, because they were like, oh, it's a bride for Frankenstein. So that's where people started to call the monster Frankenstein.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway. Okay. So we cut to Elizabeth, who is Frankenstein's fiance, getting a letter from Henry Frankenstein, basically saying like, my worst... I had a little bit of a hard time understanding the dialogue in this movie. Sometimes they talk... Number one, they talked pretty quickly. Number two, it was audio from 1931. Number three, they had some wild, like, transatlantic accents in this movie sometimes.
It's very that thing you see in these older movies, like, they're giving us the business, see? Oh, you must, but you must. It's very that, like, over-the-top thing that Judy Garland borrowed from.
Yes, exactly.
It's everything is so urgent or everything a woman says is very urgent. Everything a man says is very aggressive.
Well, what's wild to me is this actress who plays Elizabeth, she delivers all of her lines to the balcony. Like, every time the camera is on her, she is looking up at the ceiling delivering her lines. It's really theatrical and funny to me.
It's like JoJo Siwa and the Betty Davis Eyes video.
Oh my god, don't even compare this to JoJo Siwa.
K-pop. Maybe they'll do is she playing her in the reboot? Is JoJo Siwa playing Elizabeth? Anybody know?
Get out. So in comes Victor, who is Frankenstein's friend, and they kind of just are like worried about Frankenstein's strange behavior. So they're like, we've got to talk to him. We've got to get him back. I guess his wedding is coming up, and so they're like, we have to get him under control for the wedding, basically.
Yeah, because he's off on a tangent doing this crazy experiment in some watchtower.
Yes.
And by the way, there's a lot of sexual tension between Victor and Elizabeth.
Agreed. I thought they were a couple for a while.
It felt like he is very fond of her, and he's like just waiting. It felt like the friend that's kind of like hanging around waiting for her to see the truth.
Exactly.
She's really supposed to be with him.
Very that.
Yikes. Watch out for Victor. They made
Honestly.
him a bad guy. Oh my god, they made him a bad guy.
Well, I mean, hello, the name Victor, apparently American audiences just think you're evil.
They're like, they're gonna think it anyway. We gotta do it.
Yes. Just another shot or set that I really liked was when they cut to the hallway in her building, like the big open beam kind of angled room. I thought was a really cool looking set.
There were a lot of pretty cool sets on. I mean, for especially 1931, I don't know what the capabilities were, but for me, I don't know if I'm giving it too much credit, but I was pretty impressed with what they were doing. They really set the scenes. It really felt like totally different places, you know?
Yeah. I will say I watched it and then I shower at night. I'm a night showerer. Fun fact for the listeners. And you know how when you're washing your hair, you it's the time to think about things?
Yes.
I was thinking about how movies is I started laughing about how it's a moving picture, and so we called them the movies because the pictures were moving. Mm-hmm. And then when movies started introducing sound, I think they called them talkies for a hot minute. But I don't why didn't talkies stick around the way movies did? Because movies predated sound, but for some reason that's the word that stuck around.
I wonder if they just had been calling the movie so long it was hard to get anyone to switch over, you know?
Maybe.
It's kind of one of those, the word took over the meaning, like Kleenex and some brand things.
Oh, yeah. True.
Talkies just didn't stick around. They were the Betamax.
Yes. This was the first Frankenstein talkie, anyway. Okay.
Now we cut to him,
Oh, they meet with the professor, right?
Yeah.
Next.
Oh, yeah. They run off. She's like, I must go with you. I must. And he's like, you mustn't. And she's like, I must. It's very intense. They go. And then they go meet with the professor, who's very, he's like an owl come to life.
Yes. And I also have to laugh at, I think the gist I get is that Frankenstein was basically, kicked out of grad school for being a weird scientist man. And they're going to meet with his professor to try to get him to help Frankenstein see sense.
Yeah, and they want to understand what exactly was he working on.
Yes, exactly. And it just made me laugh though, because I was thinking about grad school, and if you get kicked out of grad school, your professor does not give a shit what is going on in your life anymore.
Yeah, I was like, what is this person's investment? And it was really funny because they talk to him and he's all like, that's how he talks.
Yeah.
And he's all, oh yeah, he was learning chemical galvanism and electrobiology.
Oh my god!
Zoom in.
The word salad that came out of his mouth made me laugh.
Oh, 100%. 100%. And then he goes, yeah, we kicked him out because he wanted a dead body and we wouldn't give him one, and he wanted to get it other ways, so we're like, forget it.
Yes.
And Victor's like, oh, you mean he's like, he wanted a body, and Victor's like, oh, he wanted an animal body. That's not so bad. That's fine. And he's like, no, he wanted a human one. And then they go, well, you have to go with us to talk to him. And he goes, absolutely not. And all it takes to convince him is they go, won't you help us, please? And he's like, well, you talked me into it.
I know. Oh, God, that was good. By the way, his office, also another cool set. It kind of reminded me of in The Sword and the Stone when Merlin has to pack up his little house.
Yeah.
It kind of gave me that vibe. Anyway.
I love that movie, Sword in the Stone, Madam Mim.
I do too. Anyway, we could talk about The Sword and the Stone another time. We've never done that on Patreon, have we?
Not yet.
Okay, well, add it to the list. Okay. So we cut to Henry Frankenstein. They're in a lightning. Okay, I just literally wrote, they're doing, in all capitals, science, because there is like test tubes and bottles and a bunch of electrical panels, which I have trivia about that I'll share at the end. But
It's basically a Spencer's Gifts in here.
It's a Spencer's gift store, yes.
Exactly. They have all those things that you put your finger on and the electric shoots to it. The things that I wanted so bad as a child.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Wouldn't mind even today, really. But that I would pretend I had magic with.
Of course, yeah. God, we had a store that was just that kind of stuff. And it wasn't Sharper Image, but gosh, I wish I could remember what it was called. Anyway. So they're doing science. He's like shouting, "Fix the electrodes" and stuff like that, and tells Fritz that the brain you stole is waiting to live again in a body I made with my own hands. And they are talking about how the storm should pass overhead in about 15 minutes, and then they'll be ready. Unfortunately, they are interrupted by knocks on the door.
Yes.
Which he sends Fritz to like send them away, and Fritz is like, he opens the door, or the little like, I think maybe it's called a portico. No, I don't know. Maybe I'm confusing porthole with something else, but it's a little opening in the door, and they're like, "We're here to see Henry Frankenstein," and he's like, "Go away."
Yeah. Isn't like storming out, and they're like, "Please."
Yes, they're like, "Let us in." And finally, he does let them inside, and they're telling him he's crazy, and he's like, "Crazy, am I? We'll see whether I'm crazy or not," and then brings them up to the lab and orders them to sit down. There's some like moments of strange tension that are like, why is this important? Where like Victor doesn't sit down for a second, and Frankenstein is like, "Sit down," like up in his grill, and I'm like, did we really need this? Anyway.
Yeah. There was a lot of yelling about sitting and who's in control, and please sit down. No,
Yes.
Absolutely not.
So he tells the professor that, we've discovered certain rays of light, cue Madonna, the like furthest being ultraviolet or whatever. And he says, "I've gone beyond ultraviolet. I've discovered the great ray that first brought life into the world." And he talks about how he kept a human heart beating for 3 weeks. And then he pulleys the corpse up through the ceiling into the storm. And we got lots of lightning. And I read something about how the thunder sound from this movie was like kind of like the prototype for thunder sounds in other movies for a long time.
Oh, that makes sense. I always hear like this random laugh in movies of kids. I hear it in commercials too. And I'm always like,
oh, really?
That's the same laugh I hear in a lot of the same movies.
Oh my God, that's eerie.
I know exactly the laugh. It ends with like, it's like, I want to say it's a couple of children are laughing. It sounds like at first, like outside, but it ends with one child's like extended laugh. And I can hear it in my head right now.
Weird. That's creepy. So they wheel the body back down.
I forgot to mention this. The table through the ceiling scene, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I like that too.
I was like, okay, 1931, but I also thought, okay, that table looks like the kind of table you have at like a family party where you throw like, a few pizzas and salads on it.
Also, I'm pretty sure the person who made all of the electrical equipment, I think I'm remembering correctly that that's him on the table, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. So they wheel it down, and he's like, it's alive, because the hand moves. And then we immediately cut to black. Like, nobody's screaming.
No,
nobody.
He's the only one screaming. A few people look a little bit, like, surprised if they even see them. He says that thing that you said earlier about now I know what it feels like to be God.
Which got cut because people thought it was blasphemous, but it made its way back in.
Yes, and I'm glad it made its way back in. And it sounded like it took great effort to make its way back in when I read about it.
Yeah.
Like, they at first didn't know what to do with it, then they were able to restore the audio through, like, a lot of technology. I also read that the actual audio says, now I know what it feels like to be God's multiple, but I actually don't believe that.
I don't think so either. It sounded like God to me.
Yeah, and it doesn't make sense to be gods either. I think it's just people who cannot handle life.
Yeah, honestly.
But, yeah.
In the next scene, is just like Elizabeth and Victor hanging out with Frankenstein's dad, who is the Baron
in
Frankenstein.
a genie lamp.
And yes, he looks like Stimpy from Ren and Stimpy when he's in his like little fez and evening jacket. Also, they are very calm about the fact that a dead body has just been reanimated by her fiance.
Yep, they're like, let's not mention it.
Right.
Like the kind of thing, like you go to someone's house and like in the corner of the room you saw like a sex swing and no one mentions it.
Has that happened to you?
Not yet, but anyone out there want to invite us over?
Oh God, yeah. Anyway, he's like, the father's like, when's the wedding is all prepared for? Like the village is all ready, and the father's like, we have to get Frankenstein down from that clock tower windmill. I think he says windmill, which I read was a goof.
Yeah, but then it ends up being a windmill later.
It does. There was originally, it was all going to be in the windmill, but they decided to make a clock tower. But I think they had filmed this scene before they made that decision.
Okay.
And so him saying windmill was a mistake. Yeah.
Because they kept saying watchtower or clock tower, and then all of a sudden he said windmill, right?
Yes.
And then there is a windmill later.
Yes.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah. So he's like convinced that Frankenstein's busy with another woman, which is a wild accusation, a wildly baseless accusation to say in front of his fiance.
Oh, I mean, the way he's acting in front of this woman, I'd be like, I don't want to marry him anymore.
Look, I'm sorry, if you found out that your fiance was digging up corpses to reanimate them, that's a deal breaker.
Oh yeah, that. That's a deal
much less his
breaker.
father.
Honestly, though, yeah, let's start there.
Really,
Maybe now
really
that you
and
know
truly.
he's out of his mind, it's
Right.
time to, pick another path. Maybe Victor's not looking so bad anymore.
I mean, he
Victor's
was never
probably
he's-
salivating right now. That's why Victor's still
he's-
hanging around.
I think he's very handsome too. Like,
He is. Go for Victor's ready to be like, I'm ready. I'm here for you.
real. Honestly, she should have left him for Victor and then left all of this mess behind.
Yeah.
But anyway, they go back up there, and back at the castle, the professor and Frankenstein are talking about how the monster could be dangerous and should be kept under guard. And professor says, that was a criminal brain that you stole from my laboratory. And Frankenstein, it kind of looks shaken by this, but is like, it's just, flesh. Like, surely he won't be a criminal like the brain.
Yeah. It's like, oh, well, it's fine. It's probably fine. It's very that vibe because it's like, he obviously knows it's important and that's why they got the brain in the first place.
Yes.
But he's like, well, we're already done.
We've come this far.
Yeah.
And he says, professor says that you've created a monster and it will destroy you. And then he goes, here he comes. Let's turn out the light. And then we hear like shuffling steps. And I found it very weird that the monster walks into the room backwards.
Oh, yeah. I guess they really wanted to make it like he's learning from scratch and he doesn't know how to use this body. But I think,
I guess.
The rest of it was fine.
I was like, who is this, Miss Banji?
I love it.
So he walks into the room, he's lurching around and kind of like you said, learning to control his body. And Frankenstein tells him to like sit down and he's like, look, it understands, watch. And he opens the skylight and then the monster kind of like stands and like reaches toward the light, which again, I haven't read the original Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, but I have a cousin who had to read it in like a college English class or something like that. Maybe it was high school, but she just complained. She hated the book and she constantly complained that all the book talked about was like the light, the light, the light. So it seems like that's a very prevalent theme in the book, at least according to her.
Yeah.
And she thought it was so boring. But
yeah, I imagine this was meant to show like his humanity or humanness, to like see and recognize that there's something out there that he wanted to be a part of. Very Hunchback of Notre Dame out there moment.
Yeah, very out there. And also I think the book was titled Frankenstein or the Modern Prometheus.
Yes.
And I like sort of read about Prometheus. I know I studied it in like 6th grade or whatever, but I think there's something about like the light and the fire of creation sort of element to that. And so I thought this kind of like silent reaching for the sun scene was really pretty. I liked it a lot.
Me too. And this is really when you get to see a lot of the makeup work and all that. You're really seeing it all for the first time. You see the bolt. It looked great.
It did. It did.
It looked great. And I read that, oh my gosh, the actor who plays him, question mark, I read that he was found and chosen because of his look.
Yes. Okay.
And that he didn't know quite how to feel about it afterwards when he found that out, when he saw what the costume and saw that was.
He said he was like walking around this like film set or whatever, like dressed in a suit. He was like, I thought I looked really nice. And then he was like, he saw me and chose me to play the monster. He was like, I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also read that the green was chosen so how it would read on like grayscale.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
How ironic. I mean, it made sense because it does look different than everyone else's skin, but how funny that ended up being the color.
Yeah, and I read that in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, the monster is horrifying because his skin is translucent, so you can kind of see like blood and organs and veins and stuff beneath the skin, but that was something they couldn't accomplish in 1931, so that's why they went with this look instead.
Oh, interesting. When he does reach up, you do see some vascularity sort of to his forearms.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what they were kind of like nodding to.
Maybe. And then Fritz comes in, and for some reason, Fritz, despite being part of these experiments and helping Frankenstein the whole time, seems to hate the monster and enjoys antagonizing it with a torch, which the monster finds very traumatizing.
I can imagine why. I mean, when people come after me with the torch, it's not my favorite.
No.
Not my favorite activity.
Right. And then, so they like take it to the cellar and chain it up, and Fritz like whips it and tells it to be quiet. And For no reason. And then later they hear a scream and they find that the monster has killed Fritz and gotten unchained somehow. And the professor says, Fritz always tormented it. And I was like, how long has this been to say always tormented it?
Right. And I like how the professor was like, this is terrible, I'm not doing it. And then as soon as he sees it, he's like the kombucha girl meme.
Oh, God. Brittany Broski.
Yeah, he's like, oh, okay, I'll stay after all. I'll hang around here.
So the professor says they have to kill it. He gets like a needle to sedate it. And the monster kind of like kicks their asses at first, but then falls unconscious, I assume, from the sedative. Mm-hmm. And like right as this happens, the like father is knocking at the door and they're like, quick, hide the reanimated corpse.
Right. It becomes a goofball comedy.
Yes.
Running around trying to put it away. It's Weekend at Bernie's.
The father who before was Stimpy from Ren from Ren and Stimpy, he is now the Monopoly Man because he walks in wearing a monocle. Which, by the way, I know.
What's all the Tommy Rod about?
I know that the Monopoly Man doesn't have a. Oh wait, yeah, I know the Monopoly Man doesn't have a monocle. That's like a Mandela effect thing, but it will forever be a Monopoly Man reference in my brain.
Yes, he's a Mr. Peanut.
Yes. So let's see. The professor says, like, take Frankenstein away, and and for some reason Frankenstein faints when he sees her and is kind of like half conscious, and they like decide to take him back while the professor deals with Frankenstein and like preserves the records and like finishes this quote unquote study. I don't know why Frankenstein fainted, but I assume it was meant to like convey how trying this has all been on him, but that really wasn't built up much at all.
No, not at all.
Anyway, let's see. So we cut to the Frankenstein's monster is on a like operating table. The professor is keeping it sedated, making notes about how it's requiring stronger and stronger sedation. So presumably he's been studying it, and his note says he will begin autopsy at once. And then as he's like bending over to listen to Frankenstein or the monster's heartbeat, the monster strangles him to death.
And I'm like, good. You were going to cut him up and he's alive.
Did you notice? It was at this moment that I noticed there is no music in this movie.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah, there's no music in the entire movie. All the sound effects are just like thunder and, doors and things like that. But there's no music.
Interesting.
Except for, well, a scene, which we'll get to in a few minutes. So Frankenstein and Elizabeth have a little picnic where he's convalescing. The set looked beautiful. Her costuming, by the way, is so great. Like her big fur coats and her like little, almost like flapper-ish. I know this is past the era of flappers, but her like tight little hats and things like that.
Yes, those little sort of fascinators and
little they're so great.
Finger waves. Oh, it's just so iconic. She just looks like she should be in a portrait on a wall.
Yeah, totally. So they decide they're going to have the wedding. And then there's a scene where the Baron Frankenstein, is talking about these orange blossom boutonnieres that have been in their family for generations that he has to wear at the wedding. And Elizabeth has to wear this, crown wreath made of orange blossoms. And I was like, okay, I better write this down because surely orange blossoms going to be important somehow. Maybe it's going to,
right.
Frankenstein will be put off by the smell of the orange blossoms or something, because they spent a lot of time like close up on the orange blossoms, talking about orange blossoms, and then it never comes up again.
I was wondering the same thing. I wrote down orange blossoms, 3 generations, 30 years, the same crown for 30 years. I wrote lots of dead flowers.
And I was like, these dried flowers have lasted for 3 generations? What is going on with these flowers?
Yeah, and I understand like trying to make accommodations in the wedding for family, but this is one I think you could fight. I'm not putting a 30-year-old dead crown of your weeds on my head.
Not 30-year-old, 3 generations. So maybe like 60 to 100-year-old orange blossoms.
Oh, God. Keep your decrepit, decaying bouquet to yourself. And by the way, he is a raging alcoholic for the rest of the movie.
Oh my God, constantly.
He drinks his own drinks, everyone else's. He's about to give someone a drink. He's like, I'll just have it here.
Well, I think my favorite part about this was when he's like, oh, even the servants can have a drink. But he's like, not this good stuff because it would be wasted on them. And I'm like, wow, you're an asshole.
Right. And make sure you keep that in the movie.
Yes. Meanwhile, the monster is in the woods. This is where he comes across the little girl Maria with her kitten, which, by the way, that cat does not look happy to be being held by that child.
No, Davey was like, that cat is ready to jump out of that arm.
100%. I thought that cat was about to like scratch her eye out. I was like, ooh, little girl, let go of that cat's neck.
Seriously, was it last movie? 2 movies ago we saw a cat just get thrown across the room.
Yes,
now we're having roses. Trapped in a child's captivity.
Yes. So she asks who he is, and he doesn't speak because he doesn't speak the whole movie other than sounds that he makes. And she's like, will you play with me? And takes his hand, and they sit by the lakefront, and they play with flowers, and he smiles, and she shows him how if you throw the flower in the water, it floats. And so he finds this fun, and then he runs out of flowers, and so he throws the little girl in the water.
And then just walks away. That's it. Period. The end. Yep. There's no struggle. There's no bubbles coming up. She's just like a stone, drowned. I guess. This girl cannot swim.
No.
You know what I think about the scene with Maria?
What?
They're sitting there playing with the flowers. And she says, I can make a boat. Watch. And throws the flower in the water and it floats. Yeah. If I was Frankenstein right there, I would have been like, that's a boat.
I mean, it's like when a child says, watch this, and then like jumps around and does a spin. And
exactly.
You're like, cool.
This is how you know Frankenstein was not LGBTQ, because he would have rolled his eyes instantaneously and been like, okay, girl, and walked away. Have fun with your boat.
100%, yes. Okay, so then we cut to, I would say, 25 or 30 minutes of Germanic dancing.
LOL. I love how it's 25 or 30 minutes when the movie is like double that.
Yes.
But there's way too much cacophonic accordion catastrophic mess.
Yes.
Too much. It's for random scenes that they overlay on top of each other and replay randomly to like make them longer.
Yes. Ugh. Which I think is for like, it's meant to be like everybody celebrating Frankenstein's wedding because he's like the son of the Lord of the land, basically.
Great.
What movie did we watch where suddenly there's like sheep in the city and people are like
Nosferatu.
That was Nosferatu. Okay, thank you. I was like, what was that?
Yeah, that was my brain was something, right?
I think it was meant to be like the last meal or something because it was like plague related. Blah blah blah.
Oh right.
So let's see. Elizabeth is worried that Frankenstein is going to be late for the wedding. She speaking to the rafters is again saying something is bad is going to happen. I know it. I sense it. I mean, and this is where
listen. What you just went through with all of this, you saw this, and then he gets away scot-free by coming back and just laying down for a day. And you're just
honestly.
going to marry him? I can imagine you're having some second thoughts.
Well, right. Something bad is going to happen. I mean, best case scenario, Elizabeth, you're going to marry a grave robber who animates corpses for fun. Like, that's
so
the best
compelled
case
to
scenario.
do it that he had to escape and live in a tower with Fritz.
Exactly. So yeah, something bad is going to happen. Let's see. So Frankenstein learns his monster has killed the professor, and they're like, he's in the house. They can hear him, which I don't know how they knew that, but they go into the cellar thinking he's down there. Meanwhile, they've locked Elizabeth in her bedroom for her safety, question
On
mark?
her wedding day.
But the monster comes in through the window and attacks her, and they hear her screaming. She's locked in.
And no one can get her out. None of the
Right.
12,000 maids can get her out.
Correct. So when they finally get in the room, she's like passed out on the bed, and Frankenstein has run away, or the monster has run away. And then we cut to the little girl's dad, Maria's dad, carrying her body through the streets, which like stops all the celebration and like riles up the villagers. And he's like, Maria was murdered. And at this point, none of them have seen the monster and they don't know what they're hunting for. But this is where I really wonder, the like phrase torch wielding villagers. I really want to know if like this is the genesis of that.
I bet it is, because it's so interesting how they all assume it's the monster. But I guess they did say in a previous scene that the monster's been running rampant in the villages nearby.
Yeah, that's true.
They find Maria and they immediately know she's been murdered by the monster because she drowned. But
Is there a
anyway.
hawk in your room?
Huh?
Is there like a hawk in your room
Oh my gosh,
right
you
now?
can hear that?
I just heard it. Yeah, what was that?
It's a bird outside.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny.
I
usually don't hear
to try to
anything.
block as much as I can, but I feel like even when I edit, I find like the wildlife in the background. I'm like, I'm doing what I can.
That's so funny. So then we get like 25 or 30 minutes of torch wielding villagers. And my note, it is very long. It is just a lot of like shouting, yelling, and the sound of the dogs barking is beyond annoying to me.
Oh my gosh. Our dogs were sleeping, and I was like, if this wakes either of them up, I'm going to scream, because this is going on for so long. The dogs running around. They're in 3 groups. The dad's leading one. The Dr. Frankenstein's leading another, and I don't know, the mayor is leading the other one, looking for the monster everywhere for no reason. Lot of screaming and yelling. This was a scene where I bet people were like, I want to be in the movie. They're like, yeah.
Really? Honestly, it was probably like, hey, we're filming this crowd scene tomorrow. Can you bring 12 of your friends? So let's see. So they find and fight the monster, or Frankenstein finds and fights the monster, who like knocks him out and drags him away. And they like loose the dogs, and he carries him up to the windmill. And
There's that windmill.
there's this scene where there's like a spoked wheel in the middle of the windmill room that Frankenstein and his monster kind of like look at each other through, which I thought that was a pretty cool shot.
Yeah.
Where they're kind of like looking face to face for sort of what feels like the first time, like really seeing each other.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I wrote that down too. I also liked in this scene, like when Frankenstein, so that he's in the windmill now, and they're like, he locks himself in there, and I think he's got Frankenstein on the roof of the windmill.
Yeah. There's like a balcony off the side of the windmill.
Yeah, and they clearly have like cut these scenes together with the film, but I thought it was pretty well done for back then, where like you see Frankenstein the monster throwing Dr. Frankenstein off of the windmill from the roof. And I thought, for what they did, it looked actually pretty good. But then he lands on like a windmill blade.
It was like the most obvious dummy I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, the dummy, yeah. But the way they had like Frankenstein like look like he was all high up on the windmill, when clearly it was just like, right there.
Yeah, for sure.
I also thought the wide shots of the windmill were pretty cool.
Agreed. Yeah. So they light the windmill on fire with Frankenstein the monster trapped inside, and presumably he burns to death. There's a lot of screaming. A lot of
the windmill burning, which again, the shot looked really cool with the windmill burning at night. That's why they kept the windmill in, because they're like, that was a cool shot, and we burned a windmill down, so we have to do it.
P.S. The like pastry brand Vandecamps?
The what?
The pastry brand Vandecamps.
Is that the one that makes the windmill cookies?
Maybe, but their logo is the windmill, and this windmill was modeled after that windmill.
Oh my gosh.
Fun fact.
Okay, I don't know if this is it, but I've been dying to say this, and I've been holding it back, but you brought it up with the cookies. So there's a wind... Have you ever eaten the cookies that are shaped like windmills?
I don't think I ever have, no.
Have you seen them in the store?
I mean, I can picture what a windmill cookie would look like, but I can't tell you if I've ever seen one.
Okay, I think it's Archway or something, but they're the same cookie brand that makes the S cookies. Make these very thin, crispy windmill cookies, and I think they're almond flavored. They're almost like a wafer. They're so effing good. I haven't had them since I was young, and every time I hear the word windmill, I think of those cookies, and I can taste it in my mouth.
What is an S cookie?
Oh, those are great. Those are the same brand. This might be an Italian thing, and I think other brands make it too. But they're shaped like an S, almost like the S you would draw on your notebook in school, but when you were younger.
Yeah.
Like long S's, and they are puffy cookies, and they are almost...
Okay.
I don't know how to describe them, but they're great with like coffee. They're like a little bit of a glaze.
Huh.
Anyway,
so the last two notes I have are like back at the manor. Frankenstein is in bed with like Elizabeth tending to him. The maids are all bringing some wine, thinking that he'll enjoy it, but the father is like, he doesn't need this. I'll drink it instead. And he does the same toast he did before of to the house, to young Frankenstein, to like health, to the house, and the young Frankenstein.
yeah.
And then the movie's just over.
Yes, just over. There's no... I don't know what we're meant to see. We see Frankenstein clearly there's Bride of Frankenstein and all these other ones, so he doesn't die. And Bride of Frankenstein is essentially the sequel to this, so...
Yeah, in the book, in Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, the monster asks Frankenstein to make him a bride. Uh-huh. And Frankenstein starts to, and then changes his mind, and... potentially that's one of the reasons the monster kind of like goes on I don't know if he goes on a murdering rampage, but that's one of the like main sources of contention is that Frankenstein refuses to make the bride for him.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I did like that in the ending title card. They give the monster a name. They give him the actor's name.
Boris Karloff. Yeah.
But I liked at the top of the title card, it said, "A good cast is worth repeating." Did you see that?
I didn't see that,
It was so cute. I was like, that's adorable. I mean, I don't sit through the credits at the end of a movie because they're a million years long and, who's really able to read anything unless you're looking for a name.
Yeah.
But with a one little title card, I was like, that's so cute. A good cast is worth repeating.
I think that might be a nod. I think he had worked with both the actress who played Elizabeth and a couple others before.
Oh, how fun.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
So, a couple of things. I have a few pieces of trivia.
Yeah, let me know. I think most of mine I kind of peppered in, but I might have a couple, but go ahead.
Okay. So, the person who designed all the electrical effects was named Kenneth Strickfaden, and they were like so successful that they kind of became part of the Frankenstein lore from this point on. And the equipment that was used to produce them has come to be known in like the sort of like electrical equipment for like mad scientist stuff has come to be known as Strickfadens because they were like so visually impactful to the audience. I already talked about the translucent skin. Let's see. Oh, okay. So the actress who plays Elizabeth told the actor who plays the monster that she was like the first time she saw him in full makeup coming towards her, she was actually worried she might be scared of him. And so he told her that throughout the scene, he would wiggle his pinky finger out of sight of the camera shot so that despite the scary makeup, she would see her friend Boris waving at her and like let her know that she was actually safe and that a big scary monster wasn't coming after her.
That is so sweet.
Isn't that cute?
Yeah.
Okay, we already talked about the Now I Know What It's Like to Be God was cut because of blasphemy, and then it was put back in. We talked about Mary Shelley being 19 when she wrote the novel.
I heard the Maria scene was pretty controversial too, and it was originally cut.
Yeah. There was a while where it wasn't shown that she was thrown into the water, and then it made it back in.
Honestly, I felt like the walking through the street with Maria scene was way more like dark and
impactful and dark. Yeah, I agree. Let's see. Apparently, the director was really, according to a film historian, the director was really jealous of all the attention that Boris Karloff was getting for the monster makeup. And so he took revenge by making Karloff, the scene where he carries Frankenstein up to the mill, which he like carries his body weight up a hill and like through different things and into the windmill. He apparently made Boris Karloff film that multiple times because he was like, as a form of revenge.
Rude.
Which I was like, listen, you're the one who was like wanting this film to be like impactful and successful. If he's getting a lot of attention, you should be excited by that. Whatever. Let's see. And then lightning is never mentioned in the Frankenstein novel. It's all about chemicals and stuff like that. So I think we already talked about that, but it's kind of, that's become part of the Frankenstein lore ever since this movie. Mm-hmm. So that's all my trivia.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything else. I don't think I have anything else either.
What are the ratings?
All right, we have IMDb gives it a 7.7.
Okay.
Rotten Tomato meter is 94%. And the audience popcorn meter is 87%.
Okay.
Pretty high.
Yeah. I'm surprised. I feel like often, like when we talked about Nosferatu or maybe, I don't know, with some of the really, really old-timey movies that we've covered, have like, I think been rated higher than they would obviously if they came out today because they were made 100 years ago. Mm-hmm. But I'm kind of surprised to see 7.7. Like I would have anticipated it being higher just because it's like a classic movie.
Agreed. I am gonna give it a 6.5.
Oh my God, Matt, you read my mind. I was literally gonna give it a 6.5 as well.
How funny! I mean, I know that might sound like close to the middle. I'm still gonna call it a beauty.
Okay.
Spoiler alert. So I'm not trying to rate it low, quote unquote, but I just think for me, it's a 6.5. It's not something I would necessarily need to rewatch. There's not a ton of content. While it was short, it could have been a 25-minute film if they wanted to cut out a lot of the barking dogs. And I understand with the constraints they were working with, and it's the first movie like this, and so they're not necessarily looking at past films and stuff to see like what do audiences want and what do they need and require. Yeah. So that being said, I'm not knocking it for not having these things, but there could have been more narrative context to, like you said, with from why is he doing this? How do people actually feel about it? Who cares about this damn wedding?
Right, exactly. Yeah, I thought the same things. It's not that it was bad. I think for its time, it was good. Just like for my experience, I was like, 6.5. Because I didn't watch it and go like, wow, I want to watch this again. Or like, I loved this. It was cool to watch it, but I didn't like have a great time.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it was. I'm glad I've watched it. I'm glad it's like checked off the list. Been there, done that. Got the t-shirt.
Exactly. Yeah.
But what do you say? Is it a beauty or a beast?
I think I would still call it a beauty, especially for like the time that it came out. I think it was pretty innovative and cool. And like I said, there was some really cool like shots and things like that that I really enjoyed. So yeah, I think I would call it a beauty.
Yeah, and I recognize the significance of it with all like the precedent type things it set, like
totally
like that iconic lightning sound or thunder sound rather, the movie makeup for what became like the classic Hollywood movie monster makeup for Frankenstein till this day.
Yeah.
A lot of what it did, I understand and I appreciate, and I recognize its like significance. But yeah, for a reboot in general, what would you be looking for something like this? Reboot, remake,
I think just deeper characterization generally for everyone. Like, I want more of what's tormenting Frankenstein. I want more of the struggle of the monster, because I think a common criticism of Frankenstein movies generally is they don't often delve into the struggle of the monster either. And so I think just getting into I think this movie was created as a spectacle. And in that regard, I think it was really successful as a like exploration of the themes of bringing a corpse back to life and all of that. And, life and existence and meaning and all of that. I would like to see more of that in a movie in order to make the spectacle, put some spirit behind the spectacle.
Agreed. And if you are trying to create fear and terror with this creation, I need to see more than just him having a natural reaction to an annoying kid.
Yes.
Just kidding.
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Listeners, I know your phone is in your hands or it's within your reach. So if you could just really quickly pick it up and just head on over to whatever podcast app you're using and subscribe to our show. And while you're there, rate us and review us because that really helps other people find our show.
That's right. And the other way people can find our show best is through word of mouth. So tell people in person, tell your friends and coworkers, post about us on whatever sort of communities you belong to, and spread the word.
That's right. Our social media is RebootyPod on Instagram, and you can email us at rebootypod@gmail.com. We love getting emails, so send us one and say hi.
And we also have a Patreon. It's patreon.com/NandMatt. We have a lot of episodes where we play games. We have a lot of other movie reviews. And if you're ever suggesting a movie to us, as you heard, we're considering some for the future in these episodes. Let us know.
Yeah, and thanks for listening to Rebooty and the Beast.
See you next time.
Goodbye.
Bye.